Joel, if I may, my new
Yes.
co-host. What was your biggest takeaway on the Imaginaries? What's cool about what we're doing here? You were there, you were present, you were playing drums, you were part of the conversation, and I love that. But now that we're just chopping it up for the intro of this episode, first of all, they're such a wonderful couple. I love them. They're such a
Yeah.
dynamic duo, if you will, right?
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah, they're so endearing. They have such great energy. They're so full of gratitude and warmth and beautiful music. But what was your main takeaway?
Man. One of the biggest takeaways was leveraging opportunities. And Maggie was such an insanely good example of this. One of the best I've ever seen in my life. I mean, so don't want too much of the story, but they were called in to play to be the backing band for a film. And 99% of musicians would have just been like, cool, sounds good, great check, be the background, and leave. And listen to the episode. I mean, Maggie, she turned that into an insane amount of opportunities. She leveraged that. They were so smart. They over-delivered, like we talked about in the Devin Powers episode.
Yep.
They came up with all these things. They came to the thing with solutions and just turned one small opportunity into a mountain of amazing outcomes.
Yeah, it's true. Like she literally took that one gig. So maybe I think they might have filmed like for a couple days or whatever, 2 or 3 days. She took that one experience and turned it into months and even years of residual income.
Yes. And you're going to hear about it in the episode. It's crazy what they did. I'm just so impressed.
It's amazing. I agree. I agree. So yes. Okay. Well, listen, it's all about parlance, right? You might hear like back in my day, yeah, 90s parlay was a big term. Like, you'd hear a lot of rappers be, yeah, we'll parlay this into that. And you were like, what does parlay mean? You look it up and it simply means taking one situation and kind of, like you said, milking it for what you can to turn it into more opportunities and more situations and scenarios that would be beneficial to you. So it really is amazing because they were on this film. You know how when you watch a movie and you see a band in the background, they're playing, right? So that's what it was. That's what the call was for. But then she was talking to the producers and the directors and saying, hey, would you like us to actually, no, she didn't even ask. They just recorded it. That's right.
They came with the solutions ready to go.
Okay, spoiler alert. Sorry, I'm giving spoiler. Okay, all right. I retract that statement. You have to listen to the episode to find out more about that. Okay, but yes, you're absolutely right. They were fantastic in that opportunity and really making the most of it.
Yes.
Something else. Well, Shane is just a killer guitar player. I mean, I got to say that as a guitar homie, like he's crushing it, right?
Yeah, he can show up and throw down.
Yeah, and actually, we're gonna put a link in the show notes here to his pedal company. Him and his father-in-law started this pedal company. They make these killer distortion pedals. So
I think their first client was someone pretty big. Was it?
We're going to bleep that. You got to listen to the episode to find out their first big client. But yeah, the link will be in the bio for Shane's killer distortion pedal, which myself and Andy here at the Career Musician team we're huge proponents of. We love these pedals. So definitely you're going to want to check that out. And then also something else that you mentioned that you have experience in, I have experience in, and they do as well.
Man, real estate. I know this is a music podcast. I know it's a music podcast.
Yep.
But man, it is there have been studies shown over time the biggest builder of wealth in the history of the world is owning property. And so, take all your money, make your gigs, do your thing, save up, kill it as a musician. But the only hard part, and I think it's important for us to talk about this because I think it's kind of taboo. Musicians are like, oh, we just talk about music. But when you're a gigging player, your money is your time. You trade your time, you go play a gig, you get money. But if you can't give your time, you get older, you're on tour, you can't be at home, you need to have ways to make money. And it's just smart to figure out ways to make money. And a huge one is real estate, man. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. I bought a townhouse in 2016, and it's made more money than I have, dude.
Joel,
I mean,
okay, hold on, full stop. 2016, bro, that's almost 10 years, okay? Do you realize the equity that you've developed in 10 years?
Yes. And I think nowadays, like 2025, the first thing people hear when they think of property is like, oh, well, that's never going to happen for me. Like in LA, bro, I'm never going to be able to buy a condo in LA. Are you kidding?
Right.
Millions of dollars. And I get it. Yes, it is so hard to buy property now, exponentially harder than it was. But if you work your butt off, get with your family, do anything you can to get money, and then buy property in Topeka or wherever, like buy property in Detroit or wherever you can, even if it's not in your hometown. Anything you can do to get property in any place in the U.S. is going to be a huge, you're going to thank yourself for the rest of your life.
Oh, bro, amen a gajillion times over. And that's exactly what Shane and Maggie did.
Ooh, Shane's a monster, dude. He got me thinking. I was like, dang, bro, Shane,
bro,
he knows what he's doing.
You and I might have to make a trip out to what is it, Oklahoma? Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, and you want to know what that's all about? You got to listen to the episode. But geez, brilliant!
It's such a cheat code for life, man.
It really is. It really is exponentially, man. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
I have firsthand experience with that as well. When I was in Nashville, I owned 2 properties in Nashville, a townhouse first. And we took that townhouse, sold it, and parlayed that into the purchase of a single-family home, a much bigger home. And then when I decided, actually, I only lived in that house, I think, for a year and a half. And then I decided, nah, I love Nashville, but I hit my ceiling in Nashville, my threshold, so to speak. I did all that I could. But I wanted to advance my career even further, and I was still in my early 30s, so I moved out here to L.A. And then... but I kept the house in Nashville and I rented it out. And guys, I can't tell you how important this is. So like Joel just said, buy it in a market that's smaller, that's not as bloated, over bloated like much of the United States is. Or if you're in another country, there's opportunities, gang. There really is. So find an area that is still accessible, but not bloated, not overly beyond reach, and invest a small amount. And another thing you said, talk to your family, talk to your loved ones. Hey, can we co-op this? Can we go in together? Well, what if I put in 10 grand, you put in 10 grand, Uncle Jimmy puts in 10 grand, that's 30 grand, that's enough for our down payment, and then we can you know what I mean? Like whatever you have to do, scrimp and put it together to make it happen. Because like you said, exponentially, man, the returns are so amazing.
Yes. And it man, it's such a hard subject, and so many people nowadays feel bitter about it because it's hard to buy a house. It's really it's bad. Yeah. But
it really is, I know.
Anything you can do, if you scrape, push, fight for it, you can still make it happen, even if it's a townhouse in the middle of Nowheresville. Like, get something, and it's gonna pay back huge.
Yes, and that's exactly what they did. The Imaginaries, Shane and Maggie. Boy, it's such a great story how they did that, though.
Yes, and it helps them. Now they can focus on their art. They can build up. They can take the gigs they want. They can do so many things. So many options are available to them because of some hard work they've done. And it's never over. It's never like people think, oh well, I'm early 30s or mid 30s, whatever. And it's like, man, get yourself built up and keep pushing. It never ends, man. Just keep going. Things still happen. The clock doesn't run out as fast as you think it's gonna.
Dude, that's the truth. I'm laughing because I find myself, bro, I'm 53. I'm like, and I feel like, oh, shut up. He sat back in his seat and he's like, whoa, that's old, man.
Oh, there's a little Kevin Hart reference I want to make here, but
jerk. What is the Kevin Hart reference?
Oh, you gotta see it. It's like an interview with him and Don Cheadle, and Don Cheadle's like, he's like, and myself, I'm 56 or whatever, and Kevin Hart's like, damn, and he's like, and he gets all mad at him. He's like, no, I meant, damn. And he just keeps changing it. It's so good. It's so good.
You little bastard, you. Joel's like, 19, soaking wet. No, what are you, 30 what?
33.
33. Oh, that's right. 20 years. I forgot. I got double decades on this fool right here. So listen, 53, 33, you have so much time. Come on, man. So just live life to its fullest. Figure it out. Yes, life is a pain in the ass sometimes. It's a struggle, but you can do it. We can all do it. We all have the same tools. So, last thing I wanted to say regarding that with Shane and Maggie, what I love about what they're doing, it's what we talked about also in the episode with Max Diaz, subsidizing your talent. And you just mentioned it. When you figure out a way to create income, especially if you can generate passive income, and that's the key, okay? So with music royalties, with songwriting, composing, production royalties, we want that. That's the goal. That's passive income. You're building wealth while you sleep. You're making money while you work. So when you put your hand to the plow and you're working, you're making money. You build wealth while you're sleeping through the passive income, okay? But the most important part is you're subsidizing your talent so that you can do whatever you want in the creative realm. And this is directly linked to, starts with an M. It's the theory. It's the M theory.
Maslow's hierarchy?
Maslow's theory, baby. Come on.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Spit some knowledge on that.
Yeah, and if you Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it has, there's like these pyramid, this pyramid shape, and if the bottom isn't met, you can't do anything more. So there's things like your personal, like safety first. If there's a bear chasing you, you can't worry about your music theory. But like you get your safety.
Wait, hold on, pause. I could just see some nerdy musicians out there like trying to transcribe Paganini's 24th Caprice with a bear chasing them.
Yeah, man, you gotta get yourself set up right. You have to
first
meet all
safety,
your needs.
Yeah,
your safety, and then your food and shelter. You're not going to be a great artist if you haven't eaten for 4 days. Or I don't know, maybe you'll come up with your best stuff then, but in the long run, that won't work out well. So you got to take care of your needs before you can take care of your self-fulfilling desires. And sometimes that happens through music, and that's amazing. And but long term, you want to figure out ways you can keep money coming in when you're 70 and 80 and you can't play anymore. Because if all you did was just make your money from just playing music, just like in person gigging, that doesn't work as well when you're 80. It's hard subjects to think about, but we got to think about it.
You're not going to see a 75-year-old musician in Taylor Swift's band. You're just not.
Nope, unfortunately, man.
But you will see a 33-year-old musician.
Hey. Yes, sir.
You might even see a 53-year-old musician if they're in good shape like me. Oh. All right, I'm being a dick. Enough. I know that was total douchebaggery. I know.
Oh, perfect, dude.
All right. Well, check it out. This episode with the Imaginaries, Shane and Maggie. They're amazing, and you won't be disappointed, right?
So much great stuff in here. You're gonna love it. Tune in. Don't be lame. Share the game.
Bam. Subscribe, share, follow, love, hit the bell, hit the thing, send it to everybody. All right. There's going to be applause. Woo! You guys have such an amazing synergy, such a great spirit, and a killer musical presentation. So you really have the whole package. Lots to talk about. I want to fit it all in. Yeah. The Imaginaries, Maggie and Shane. Let's go.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have something really cool coming up or just about happening sometime that you just mentioned off camera, but now tell us about it. It's really exciting.
Our new record Fever just came out, which is super exciting. Woo! So that we've been working on for 2 years. Also something really cool that's happening right now is the movie Reagan that actually filmed in Oklahoma where we're from, starring Dennis Quaid, all about Ronald Reagan's life. They're releasing a soundtrack, and we're on it along with Bob Dylan and some other amazing, incredible artists. We're the only unsigned band on there, and we've got a cool little story about that.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing.
Okay. So you're the only unsigned band.
Yeah.
And it's the Ronald Reagan story. Talk about that because you said Bob Dylan. Who else is on the soundtrack?
Tanya Tucker, Clint Black, Gene Simmons.
Wow.
It's a star-studded, a cast of a wide array of artists. Really, really cool.
All styles.
So opportunity is always waiting. It's always, it's like, it's disguised in overalls, right? It's waiting. You just got to roll up your sleeves and start working. So how did that happen?
Well, it's really cool. So Maggie knows the casting director from Oklahoma. This movie was filmed in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and all over Oklahoma because Oklahoma has a great film rebate. So they came back to Oklahoma and they shot the movie. Really, they started during the pandemic, right?
Yep.
And so we got cast to be the band for the inaugural ball scene, right? And all we knew is we were going to be on stage in the movie, right?
Was it just the two of you as a duo, or did you
No,
flesh
I
it out
actually
with
cast
a
a
band?
whole band and went through the whole
Amazing.
process. Yeah.
And it was all real musicians, which is, they wanted it to look like a band.
Horn
and
section and
the whole thing.
whole thing.
Nice.
Amazing. Because there are so many, like, where the bands, you can tell they're not playing.
I
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
So
yes,
bad.
it bothers
Absolutely.
us so much.
Which is a perfect, segue into how this all came to be, because Maggie started asking the director, what song are we going to be performing on screen? Because we don't want to be up there like a bad Miley Cyrus
look
thing.
like
And
we don't know what we're doing.
or what Hannah Montana, you know what I mean? Where it's like everybody's hanging
Yes.
out on the E chord. No one's, switching chords. It's obvious that it's actors. We found out 3 days before the song is going to be Frankie Valli's My Eyes Adored You. And so I got to give it up to my incredible wife here, because she said, I got a great idea. Let's go in the studio. Let's take everybody that's going to be on screen, because we're all musicians, and let's cut a version of the song. So we went in the studio. Now, we weren't hired to do this. We went out on a limb.
But that's smart.
And we went and cut the song, okay?
On
And
your
we
own dime.
On our own
Yeah.
dime.
Your own budget.
Spent about $2,500 cutting the song. But
And
that
you got
wasn't
all
that
the
big of a deal.
musicians,
Yeah.
studio time,
Yep,
everything,
yep.
mix,
Yep,
master,
the
the whole
thing.
deal.
We show up. We had 3 days to put it all together. We show up on set with our version of the song. And so Maggie starts networking. And
So the director, Sean McNamara, I said, hey, Sean, we're the band for the scene. And we went ahead and recorded our own version of the song, because he's obviously not Frankie Valli. So you're going to need a recording of the song for the scene, right? And it dawned on him, and he was like, oh, yeah, but let's listen to it. So they stopped, and there's hundreds of people on set, and they stopped and they blasted over the speakers, and he's listening to it, and he was like,
you can see his wheels were turning. He's like, this is really good. But I think for today, we're just going to go ahead and film to the original version. Maggie's so smart. She goes, we're cutting in the same key. We're cutting the same
tempo.
arrangement and the same tempo. Because what's going to end up happening is they get done with this production. They're going to find out that licensing that version, that master is owned by a label, is going to cost a lot more money.
A lot of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. There's so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
So he did. Look, I love the tag team. You guys just keep hitting the ball back and forth, because we're both over here like, oh, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yes, you said she's so smart. Same key, same tempo, same feel, same vibe.
arrangement.
Just
yeah.
kind of put our flavor on it, or a
Yeah.
little bit of an Imaginaries flavor, but we really stayed pretty true to the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And people really have to understand why that's important, because the director, the producers, all of the people involved in the film are already attached to the original recording.
Yes.
That's what they know.
Yeah.
Once they go into post, once it's a wrap and all filming is done, they go into post, and then the music supervisors start finding out about the music licenses for those. We always talk about music licensing. It's
Yeah.
a huge part of what we do, especially as the modern day musician. Those licensing fees can be $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, $250,000 or more.
Yeah.
$1,000 per song.
Yeah.
So do you know how that unraveled?
Yeah, so I asked, and it was really interesting because I wasn't really communicating with a music supervisor at this point. I was talking to the attorney of the film, and so it was really interesting because they really kind of were in a position of power, but they said, hey, this is 4 years later, mind you. 4 years later.
So again, another quick unpack.
Yeah.
Music supervisor, the music clearance attorney.
Yeah, don't get involved until the movie's coming out 4 years later.
4 years later. Now imagine if you guys got antsy and we're like, oh man, screw this. 4 years, forget it. We're done. You can't do that.
Can't
you
do
just
that.
have
No.
to play the
You
long
never
game.
know. And, we knew that this movie was going to come out eventually. And so we just held on to the track and were patient and went on and made our record. But basically they came back, and a month before it came out in theaters, they're giving us an offer and saying, hey, we actually want to go ahead and use your recording after all. And I said, great. So how much is the publishing side paying? And they said, well, it's 15. And I said, okay, well, that's probably how much we should get too then for our side. And they were like, no, we're not doing that. And they offered like really, really low.
Was it
and,
like $3,000? Or
yeah.
something?
And I was like, no, we're not comfortable with that. And then they came back and gave us, I think we settled at 7. So like we ended up making a little bit after paying for the expense of course, recording the song.
4 years later.
Yeah.
But the cool thing also about that is I said, we're going to retain master ownership because we did this on our own. And so we're the only song on the soundtrack where we own our master.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
That's amazing.
Yeah, please drum. I need a drum sound after that.
Maggie's
I love,
a genius.
I love sharing this stuff with
Okay,
people
this
because you
is
just
so
have
important.
to take one opportunity and turn it into 3
And parlay
more.
it into,
Yeah.
that's right.
And get this, like, since the movie's come out, we've started noticing our Shazam numbers on that song have just gone
Blown
crazy. Like somewhere in, did you say recently, like in Italy
Yeah.
or somewhere, they're Shazamming it?
In Brazil,
Yeah, it's just-
had over 10,000 Shazams from being in the theaters.
Which also brings up your streaming numbers.
It
Yes.
does. And it's, I
Because then
think-
they can play it through Apple or
Yes.
Spotify or whatever.
and then
platform.
they find us, and then
Right.
now they're
Then they
listening to our
follow
other
you.
music.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. So I'm not even calling this unpacking. I'm calling this mapping out.
Yeah.
There's so much to map out here. Because what you did, first of all, what you did was ballsy.
Yeah.
Thank
Kudos
you.
for that.
Absolutely.
Thank
And I mean,
But this is what more musicians need to do. This is why the career musician exists.
Yeah.
To empower musicians, not only with strategies, but with tactics. And then we use real world experience and knowledge and wisdom to really deploy the message. Joel and I talk about this all the time. Where how many times you're doing a gig and you're like, yeah, man, I just wish the music director or the producer would speak up
Yep.
and say X, Y, Z.
Have the spine to get up there and push for something and push and say like, oh, that's not enough.
Yeah.
Or that's because there's so much fear and like we're so often musicians are acting from like a place of like
I
not
know.
power.
I know.
And then you're like, no, like you knew you had something, you knew there was money in there, you weren't afraid to be like, because most
Yeah.
people are like, oh, you'll give me $100 for all my songs,
Right.
that's great. Like,
Yeah.
like no, like this is what we need, and
Yeah.
you didn't back down. So
So,
they came
but-
back and more than doubled their offer.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, exactly. But mapping that out, so you said, okay, how much is the publishing side paid?
Mm-hmm.
So who kept the publishing then? Because
Well,
you recorded a
Yeah,
master.
so we
that
recorded
you
the
owned.
master.
we own the master, but we didn't write the song. It was written by Kenny Nolan.
So
and
the
another
okay,
writer.
so the publishing went through right. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
right. Duh.
So we
I
didn't-
was
yeah.
That's okay.
because I thought of the film production company. I'm like, no. The original writers. Okay,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
how much did they get paid on the publishing? $15K. So you said then that's what we should get. They said, oh no, they came back with $3K.
Yeah.
And
Maggie
how?
negotiated up. Said,
How?
hey,
Okay.
we're not
Again,
doing that.
you
but we don't want to
negotiated-
lose the opportunity, so she just kind of had to feel it out. And she actually talked to this attorney on the phone and kind
That's-
of
I
said,
did.
call the attorney, let's talk to him, explain the situation. Also explain the fact that when we shot on TV, when our scene was shot,
Yeah.
I brought all this sound system that we didn't get paid anything for. I brought vintage super reverb, so it looked period correct. We had a red Wurlitzer piano on stage.
Well,
I mean,
mind you, we didn't ask at
we
that
didn't ask for
time
it
to
because
get
we were
paid for
excited
that.
about the
but
opportunity.
Because it's not. Sometimes it's better to just
Yeah.
ask forgiveness
Right.
than permission.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
But you guys were acting as set and art designers.
yeah,
Brought an old
and we
Ludwig
brought all
drum
our
kit.
vintage instruments
Yeah.
for the scene. So
See, so you guys really enhanced the movie and the scene so much more than they could have hoped. They really lucked out.
Yeah.
So, but I was going to ask you if you had an attorney. So you consulted an attorney. Now, did you pay for that attorney, or
well,
you just
actually,
did it on your
I
own?
just called their attorney myself.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, to talk to him, like instead of emailing,
Excellent.
because I think so much can get
Misconstrued
lost.
in
Yeah,
email.
in text. So I just called him. Turns out we had a bunch of mutual friends, and he didn't understand the whole scope of the situation when he started emailing us. So once I explained, he was like, "Oh yeah,
Now I
yeah.
get
Well,
it."
now I get it. So yeah, obviously you guys should get this and da 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 da." So I'll take it back to them. And so I think, it can be really scary to pick up and call somebody like that, but you just get on that human level connection maybe find out who your mutual friends might be and like make a human connection and explain the situation, and then things are going to be more in your favor. So
Can you do me a favor? Can you take your mic off and just drop it, please? Damn. Like that is so that's the biz. So the career musician is built on 3 pillars: the biz, the gig, the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so like upper echelon biz tactical moves right there.
Yeah.
For a career musician. I'm so excited to hear that. And the fact that you didn't consult an attorney, but you weren't afraid to go interface with their attorney, which was amazing. Now, but you also said something else, find the common threads.
Yeah.
When we connect on a human level, because this leads directly into networking, something else we always talk about. You shouldn't walk into a room and be like, I'm going to network with these people. You should walk in and be like, hey, we're just going to have fun and connect,
Right.
talk, meet some new people.
Exactly.
So you drew those connections for their attorney. Then the attorney's like, oh, wow, I can't believe it.
I looked him up on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I was like,
there
we
you
know
go.
the
Nice.
same
Yeah.
people. And
See some recon.
Yeah, of course.
Run some recon.
Yeah.
All right. So, and now, hence the end result is you're on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
You own the masters. Now, let's talk about that last little bit. How did you negotiate that part of the contract?
Yeah.
How is that going to
Well,
benefit you guys?
I just said, we did this on spec, and we had no idea. We did this on our own, so you guys didn't commit to using our version until the very end. So, we paid for all these expenses up front and did this hoping that it would work out. They never even, said, hey, why don't you guys record your version? We just did all of it on our own. So I said, we need to retain master ownership, and we're going to go ahead and release it the day the movie comes out, because we know that we're going to get some Shazams from that. And we did. Yeah. And for some reason, it's a year later, which I understand because they're doing a twin. It's a very big project. They're doing 2 soundtracks, songs in the movie and then songs inspired by the movie. So songs had to be created as well. But while every other song has not been released yet, ours has. And so it already has some traction, which is really cool. But of course, it's always ideal to own your masters, and we do own all of ours.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you can and will get back end in the long run through your PRO, which is...
I'm with ASCAP and he's with BMI.
Oh, that's great.
So
I
it's
love
kind
that
of
you
fun.
cover both bases.
Covers both bases. That actually works well.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And now that song is not on the album.
No, because
Okay.
that song was actually that wasn't a song we probably would have ever recorded.
Right, because it was so random.
So random. But at the end of the day, it's a gateway song that people can hear our voices,
Love that.
find our music, and then find out more about what we do.
And now since you released your brand new album, Fever,
Yeah.
and that's out there in Shazam and streaming world,
Yep.
that's going to act as the hook, line, and sinker to
Yeah.
bring people here.
Exactly.
Amazing. That's brilliant. That, again, like business 101 through 110 right there. Check. You guys really crushed it.
Thank you. And I mean,
Right.
real quick, not to get down another story, but I think the overall theme here is whenever you get an opportunity, you can times that opportunity if you're thinking about it.
And you're
for
willing
instance,
to put yourself out there.
a few years ago, she got cast to be an actor in a Sam's Club commercial. Well, she shows up and does the Sam Club commercial. Then she finds out, well, what song are you planning on using in the commercial? Well, they didn't have a song picked.
I said,
I've got a
well,
perfect song
I
for
actually
you to
have the
use.
perfect song.
Well, do you have somebody that's going to do voiceover in the commercial? Well, no, we don't have that.
but we got to get it done.
She
by
got
next
paid
week.
as an actor, a voiceover actor, and got her song licensed. Come
on,
you know,
come on,
I mean,
bro.
I'm just
Dude, I'm
saying.
gonna give you like a drum machine board.
I can just hit it. Dude, that's amazing.
That is.
Thank you.
Okay, so the tenacity. So really, the sense of the dynamic duo, you got to have that business sense. And I love your tenacity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And neither one of you are shy, and that's really what it takes. You do
Yeah.
have to be forthcoming, outgoing, but you can't be obnoxious about it.
No.
You still maintain a great humility.
Yeah.
Okay. So that speaks to this because you do one thing, you show up on time, you perform as an actor, and without even realizing it, you're auditioning for them, but you flip the script. They're not auditioning you. You're auditioning them to be like, hey, how can I get these people to hire me more and more and more? And that's amazing.
Well, I always think of it like, how can I help you? And if you come from it at that level, because I could see they were kind of scrambled and stressed. And I said, do you guys have a plan for the music or what do you? And they're like, oh gosh, I don't know. We got to get something. And I'm like, oh, well, I actually have the perfect song. And then same thing with the voiceover. So whenever you can be helpful and it's not like, would you listen to my song? And when you're like, hey, could I help? Like,
it's from a place
you
of
can
confidence.
provide
Yes.
something that will take the stress off them. They're like, oh yeah, send it to me. Let's go. Yeah. And then they were like, oh, you can do the voiceover from your home studio. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, great. So
And I was gonna say, like 99 musicians out of 100 probably would have gone and done the one thing and left. And then they would have shown up and done the acting with the Reagan movie and left and been happy.
Yeah.
And been cool. But you came to them with some solutions. Like you said, you're helpful.
Yeah.
Because on the set for the movie, you got a day rate, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was nominal.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh my God, I can retire.
No, it's like maybe $300 or $400 each.
Each.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a gig.
Yeah.
It's a one-off. And what you just said, 99 out of 100 wouldn't do that. But that's what it takes.
It is.
Okay, so how did you guys put this all together? How did this happen? This symbiosis?
It's crazy. So we had been playing together. I mean, we met through music. When I was 20, I'd moved back from Minneapolis, 2021. I'd moved back from Minneapolis where I kind of got my start and put a lot of the musicians that I played with when I first, was up and coming in Oklahoma, and I went to blues jams and nobody played blues that was my age. And so all the musicians that were in my band were much older than me. But I put together a band for a show, and the keyboard player that I had used on my first record, I hired. And at the time, he said, hey, I'm teaching piano lessons to this girl. She's a great songwriter, up-and-coming musician. Could she open the show for you? She's only played at, Borders Books and some places like that at the time, And I said, sure.
Yeah.
And so at the time, I think I was 20 and Maggie was 16 going on 17. And that's when we first met.
Yeah.
She opened a show for me.
You guys were babies.
We were
We
babies.
were.
And, we became friends. It was several years later that we started dating, but we've been together now for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
Through
Really?
marriage, and we
Yeah.
dated 6 years, and we're coming up on our 14th
Wedding
year.
anniversary.
I was saying, you said
Yeah.
you were 20 at the time. You look like you're 24 now. It's like, so that was 4 years ago? 'Cause you look like you're 20.
Oh, thank
Jeez,
you.
man.
I know, right?
That's really cool.
That's really
But we
cool.
both
man.
always
It's been a
had
journey.
like our separate music, because I've put out 4 or 5 records and so has Shane, and we would always back each other up live and play on each other's records and sing on each other's records. And it took an opportunity in 2018 to kind of push us into doing the Imaginaries.
Yeah, so we were living in Burbank, and sometimes things that kind of go wrong in life, they actually are moving you in a direction, and sometimes we don't realize that at the time. We're like, man, why did the house we were renting have black mold and we have to move out overnight? It sucked. But our friend Devin, who from the Hollywood Music Awards, anyways, he said, come live at my studio house in Thousand Oaks while you guys are figuring this out. He's a friend and he's a supporter. And so Maggie and I put our stuff in storage, and we're like kind of staying at our friend Devin's studio house. And we're playing some songs and we're hanging out around him. And so he's kind of seeing what we're up to. And he said, hey, this friend of mine is doing this really cool new YouTube series called the One Mic series. He's going to go to legendary studios across the country. He's going to go to like Sunset Sound and Stax and Muscle Shoals and Electric Ladyland. And he's going to capture a band around one mic. And I think your music would be great for that. And so at the time, the only thing that we had recorded was a Christmas original song together, which was just for fun.
Yeah.
So we both submitted an individual solo song. And we get a call a few weeks later, and the call was, hey, this is John, nice to meet you both. Listened to your music, checked it out, love what you guys are doing. Man, I've booked up this entire series. I only have 1 slot left in Muscle Shoals. Would you guys maybe just come down and do something together? Literally, somebody else gave us this opportunity. And we said, well, we're not going to miss out on going to Muscle Shoals.
No.
Yeah, we'll do that. And, at that point in time, we had kind of started writing some songs that were in the middle of our styles.
Yeah.
They were just kind of like, I'd written a song for my niece for her 3rd birthday that's called a song called Thinking About You. That was one of the first songs that we cut. And we had some stuff that kind of landed in this like a little bit more of an Americana place. It wasn't a blues rock thing and it wasn't a super pop piano thing. So we just went down there, and that's how the band started.
So
really.
we did 2 songs, and it was a magical experience. And I remember after we left, we were like, whoa, that was so cool.
Yeah.
So we decided, okay, we're going to do a Kickstarter and we're going to come back here and do our record. And in the meantime, John, I remember him calling and being like, guys, your session is my very favorite of the whole series. So I want to put yours out first. So I need your band name.
Yeah. So
We were like, oh.
you know, and so Maggie is very like, she's got to have that stuff planned out. You know? And it was bothering her that we hadn't figured it out. So we'd set up a little dry erase board in our studio and we were putting band names down because we just thought, you know, this Maggie and Shane, it just sounds a little too bluegrass or something, or country. You know, we just wanted to come up with something that we felt like kind of, encompassed our sound and our music.
And it had its own identity too.
Yeah, for sure. Because we were already solo artists, so we just, we kept going on different names, and we had, several good ones, several bad ones, but then we would look those up and come to find out, there's a band in Denmark or somewhere that's already using the name. It's like,
You remember any of the bad ones?
I don't know. Do you remember any of them? I think one was the Dreamcatchers. There was a band called
I liked that one, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of
those.
That sounds like that.
You had one that was like OKLA.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Like, because we were spending our time from Oklahoma to Los Angeles, but we it was getting close to time to release those videos, and we had a long conversation before going to sleep one night, and I just had a dream. I mean, I think a lot of times God does the work for us, so I was laying there, and I never have vivid dreams, but we were talking about it just before going to bed, and I said, we'll figure it out. I said, don't worry about it. It's going to come. And we're playing, in my dream, we're literally playing a festival, like a killer festival, and the band's all kind of huddled off to the side of the stage. I'll never forget it. And it's just a sea of people, this is the dream gig that you want. And the announcer says, next up, welcome the Imaginaries. And I walk out on stage with my guitar, and I look back, and it's kind of like our logo that we have. So I kind of explained it to our graphic designer. So that's how the band name came to me.
It's a gypsy life for me and you. Down to the floor. Feel to the pain and the nights on fire. There's no turning back. Our hearts are wide. No regrets and no mistake. We're burning with a fever we can't break. We're burning with a fever. Burning with fever. We're burning with a fever. We'll celebrate and the night's on fire. We still turning back. Our hearts are wide. No regrets.
Love.
cool?
That's how it came to you in
Yeah.
a dream.
In a
Yes.
dream.
Do you ever get angry? Either one of you? Do you ever have
We have
like a
plenty
moment where you're
of
like,
moments.
You know,
guys
I mean,
ever?
I think everyone does, but you know,
you guys seem like the most chill, nicest people ever, right?
Aw,
Like,
thank
I mean,
you.
if
Oh
you
my God.
tried to get me to name right now arguments that we've been in all the years we've been together, I couldn't even find one. But
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. We did have one time where I was trying to pick out paint colors and Maggie didn't care about it, and we got into an argument at Home Depot. And so what came from that is we just said, you know, if we ever say something to each other that like we know right after we say it, I was like, oh, I was just, you know, I was
Shouldn't have said that.
I was knifing or
yeah,
needling you.
yeah.
Let's Home Depot it, you know? And that's what we do. So it's like, you know,
You go to Home Depot.
No, we say that.
it's like you're
Oh, you
get a do-over.
That's your
you
safe
get
word.
you get a
Yeah.
minute to undo what you just said. You know what I mean? Before you know
It gets real
gets
bad.
crazy.
I love that because see, my wife and I go to Lowe's.
There you go.
So I'm thinking, oh, you guys go to Home Depot, we go to Lowe's. Okay, first of all, that's effing amazing.
Yeah.
Freaking. This is so cool. The album artwork. I
Thank
love how you did
you.
old school. I love these stories, but the business savvy is not something that most musicians are naturally born with.
Yeah.
As creative beings, we're very which brain is the creative? I think it's the right side, right?
Yeah.
And we're very right side brain driven, and not so organized, responsible, and planners and all that stuff. How did you guys develop that? Was that osmosis naturally over time, or did you guys specifically sit down and say, you know what, if we're going to do this for a living and we're going to be doing, we better get some things straight. Let's get our business.
Yeah.
How did that?
I think I've always been, ever since a little kid, very planned out, very organized in like, this is my planner and I'm going to do everything that's on my list today.
That's right.
And there's no way that I'm not, that's just how it is. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it to my best ability. And that's how I've always been. There's no point to me in saying you're going to do something and not doing it. So it's just like, that's how I've always been.
I love that. Type A, same
Yeah.
way. We can relate because
Nomad makes lists.
yeah,
I love
I'm
it.
definitely. Well, I make Google Docs and sheets.
Yeah,
and,
me too.
All that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Super organized. But okay, so once you have that personality, you have your own trait. You come together. Did you decide? Okay, no more solo shows, just duo shows. Now we're just going to go out and play together all the time.
No.
It wasn't really that way. It just sort of kind of morphed, and I think we had both reached a place in our solo careers where we've been grinding pretty hard for a while. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Putting out records, and we lived out here doing it. And I think when we discovered this new sound, we got excited about it. It kind of just like, it just stirred something up, like that feeling you get when you can't wait to come home and get off the school bus and go play guitar.
And go play.
That was it. That happened.
Because
in
as a
Muscle Shoals.
professional musician,
Yeah.
you could lose that.
Right,
Yeah.
you can.
Because you play so much, you get so beaten down.
You do.
Trying to survive off of it.
that you forget why you picked it up in the first place and the joy that it brings. You
Yeah.
know?
So
The-
this revived.
It did.
It
It
did.
revived
Energy.
it. And so we just, like I said, we went back. We cut our first record there in 2019, released it in 21. Obviously had to wait a little bit because of the pandemic. And we just felt like we caught a vibe going to Muscle Shoals. It was what started our band. So we
Yeah.
returned for this new record.
But you're not from Muscle Shoals.
No, we're
Nope.
from Oklahoma.
Which studio in Muscle Shoals?
We worked at, the Jackson Highway Studio is where we did the One Mic series. And then we worked at Cypress Moon Studios and Portside Sound for the first record, which is the first Muscle Shoals sound studio, correct?
Well, it's actually the second.
the
'cause
second.
Jackson Highway was the Muscle Shoals
Okay.
first studio, and then those guys got too big, so they built the studio down by the river and
Yeah.
opened up the
Is it
larger
just
location.
that magical moment that keeps drawing you back there? You're like, it happened there. We're going to go back there. Are you always going to record there, or are you open to recording in other studios?
We're always open.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
we worked at Fame this last time as well as Cypress Moon.
Wow.
But we basically, we've done our solo records all over the place
Great.
in all different capacities. But I think the main thing about the Imaginaries is that it is authentic. It is organic. It's everybody in the room feeding off each other, playing. It's not
Right.
track the, drums and then the bass and then the
overdub.
guitars
No, no,
and then
no.
the keys.
Yeah.
So you're tracking as what, 4, 5, 6-piece bands?
It was, I think, a 5-piece for the most
Five,
part for tracking. Yeah.
And then did you, now correct me if I'm wrong, switching gears toward Guitar World and
Yeah.
Gear World,
Yeah.
did you have a career as a guitarist, as a career musician guitar guy?
Not really. I always
Okay, just the
I'm
artist.
just pursuing the artist thing
Because
you
you're
know?
such a guitar head. I love it.
Yeah.
We talk guitar stuff.
Yeah.
You let me play your 1964 Strat.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, this thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't believe you actually let me play it.
Oh
Like,
man,
you let
these things
somebody
are
else,
the thing about it is, it's like these things are meant to be played. They're meant to be enjoyed. They're meant to be
Yeah.
shared, and that's what I love about.
Well, aside from drummers, don't let drummers touch your instrument, guys. You can't.
Shane had a really special, career and a really cool start when he was really young.
Oh yeah, when I was 19, 20, I got to open for BB King. I did 30 dates opening for BB King
Holy
nationally.
cow.
Yeah, and so I moved
As
up
an artist.
as an artist, as an up and coming artist, and I was living in Minneapolis at the time. I got signed to a manager, moved straight from Oklahoma to there, chasing after this, full fledged, and never forget, I was playing. I had like a weekly gig in Minneapolis, and I was really just developing as a writer, as a player, the whole thing. And I'll never forget, one day my manager called and said, "You're going on the road opening for BB King." I mean, unbelievable. So the first time I ever came to California, it was opening for BB King at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh my
Believe that?
gosh, dude.
And unbelievable.
And you had a manager at 19.
Yes, I did.
So again, you guys were very far, right? They were far ahead of the curve.
I mean,
What
we
would you
were
say?
gigging when we were 16, 17 years old,
Yeah.
playing 3-hour sets. I mean, we wanted this so bad that we were chasing it
Yeah,
hard.
always been really committed to it. It's never been maybe it's been the thing.
Well, here's the thing. I was gigging. I think Joel could relate to this too. We were gigging when we were 16, 17 years old, but not as artists, as sidemen, as in the backing band. And I always had this mentality that, I'm just going to be a musician to support other artists. And, but I found out at a young age that I had this artist voice in me, but I squelched it. I didn't let it come out until way later in life. So it's the exact opposite of what you guys did. You guys went all in. You leaned into it.
Yeah.
And I really respect that.
Thank you.
So let's talk about some gigging secrets. Like, how do you, as an artist, you say, okay, I know I can play X instruments and I can sing like this, I could do that, but I really want to be an artist. How do you go about, but I need gigs. Where do you start?
Yeah, well, locally, wherever you live, it's a lot easier.
But let's be honest, locally doesn't pay. It sucks,
Yeah.
right?
It does.
Well, it can.
Yeah.
It can pay.
I guess depending on where you live.
Yeah.
I'm winking because I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I know that's the first excuse everybody gives. Yeah, but it's only $50. No,
you have
ways to do
to
it.
find the opportunities, and
there you go.
we've played all kinds of things from, weddings to private events to Christmas parties to festivals to dinky little venues or house concerts to awesome performing arts centers to everything in between. But I think getting started, the first thing that I did is look at the local paper of where all the venues are and where everybody's playing, or these days online, and just see like where your music might fit it best, and just start calling those venues, emailing them, showing up, and trying to talk to the manager and ask for the person who books the talent. Have your package together. And, I still am a believer in handing someone a CD because they know that you took the time to make that. That's
right. This is legit.
They'll take you seriously.
For sure.
It's blood, sweat, and tears in this.
Yeah.
And
and I just broke it.
And maybe they'll open the e-bill, maybe they won't, but if you have something
But if you
tangible.
have it,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't mean to break your
Oh,
blood,
that's
sweat,
good.
and tears. So
No,
Nah,
you're
you're
fine.
good.
No, who uses CDs like that? It's so long. It's been so long. But I love this. You're right, because what we do is intangible. And when you sell food, right? Bam, you taste it.
Yeah.
Done.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
extremely tangible.
Yeah.
And it's really it's subjective, but good food is good food. I think a majority of the population can agree on that, right?
Absolutely.
Not everybody holds the same about music.
Right.
So when you give them a tangible product,
Yeah.
there's something to be said for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I save them back. If I can tell somebody's like,
like,
not that interested, I'll give them a card because I want to be careful about who
Yeah.
I'm giving them to. But, aside from a local, like smaller level for us, like building this tour, we have a couple agents on board, but they booked, I think, 3 shows, maybe 4, and I booked the other 30.
Okay, hold on. See, map this out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how many agents do you have?
A few. So
And they booked 3 or 4 shows, but you booked 30.
Yeah, so right now we don't have
Say more.
technically a venue agent. So Maggie kind of found out about this cool thing. You want to tell them about
yeah,
it?
so 2 years ago we played a really cool show in a very small town in Oklahoma, Ardmore, Oklahoma, at the Goddard Center, Performing Arts Center there. And it was a great experience. They paid us very well. They provided an audience who sat and listened, and they all bought our merchandise.
That you didn't have to hustle up the audience.
No.
The audience was built in.
Built in.
Correct.
They bought your merch.
Yes, they listened.
They listened and they paid you
And
well.
they paid us, I think,
Yes,
$3,500
and they
for
provided a
Acoustic Tuesday.
hotel
Get
room
out of town. They gave you a hotel room
and dinner.
Stop it.
So,
What
we're
is
just
this
like-
they speak of?
we're like,
Joseph?
man, we need more of these gigs. And so Maggie started, I said, well, ask that guy how we could potentially
Do
be
more.
playing more performing arts centers.
Well, who's
So
that guy?
The guy that booked
The
us.
guy that booked us
And how
at
did
the
that
Goddard
guy find
Center.
you? How did
He
you
found us through a friend
Yeah.
who recommended us for the
Word
show.
of mouth.
Yeah,
Yes,
word of mouth.
Word of mouth is still the best way. I mean,
Yes.
that's what it's all about.
It is.
So we found out that there is this whole scene, kind of like how NACA was for college touring. There's a whole scene for getting to showcase in front of people who book
Performing
performing
arts
arts centers. It's not just musicians. It could be, it could be a magician or an illusionist or whatever.
Comedian.
They all need talent. They all need people to play their venues.
And do you call that a venue agent? Or
it's a performing arts center.
Performing arts
and
center
theater
agent.
Yes. So there's 2 people that work at that agency, and then we also have an agent for fairs and festivals only. So like state fairs. And they're here in LA. And then we're with an agent in Europe who found us from Spotify and contacted us.
Yeah, found us. We have Joe Bonamassa on a track on our new record, which is just insane. I can say that I'm friends. I met him on the BB King tour, when I was first starting out, stayed friends for years. We have this passion for old trucks, and it was a long story, but we could have never sort of orchestrated how it happened. You know what I mean? Like we were in Nashville. We were doing a few overdubs on the record and getting it ready to mix. And he saw that we were in town. He had this old truck that I had sold him a few years prior. He had a hot rod shop go through it, and we kind of share a passion for old stuff,
He had a hot rod. What?
He had a hot rod shop in Nashville, kind of go through this old truck. It was a 1955 Chevy pickup. And anyways, he wanted to show it to me. So I said, we're working at the studio. Why don't you come by? So him and his girlfriend came over. And he had just left like Rumble Seat or somewhere, and he had a Strat, had a few pedals in the car, and we were working on this tune, Crossroads. He comes in the room and hears it. And it's like, man, this is a great sounding track. I was like, it'd be even better if you pick up a guitar and throw a little something on there. And so he said, well, let's see what I can do, play it down. And, it was awesome.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
But by him being on our song Crossroads, that's how our agent in Europe found us and contacted us. And we're booking a run right now for March. I think we have 12 shows. It'll be our first overseas tour.
Yeah.
So
That's
Come on,
incredible.
bro.
Thank you. I mean, it all just...
Your drum machine, bro.
But
That's
we
amazing.
book a lot of the shows ourselves, obviously, still. And it's just about mapping it out and knowing the spots that we know people and where people are going to show up. And so...
Okay, so hold on. Picture it. You're a young, burgeoning, aspiring artist. You want to do exactly what you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, is this your only job? Is this your source of income?
It's interesting. It is at this point. It
is. We have other facets of it, like being the Imaginaries is like with our touring and with sync licensing and stuff. But I'm also a music supervisor. I also have a sync licensing company. I also mentor, and I used to teach piano and voice lessons at one point, but I don't anymore. And then I also act, and so it's all kind of related in that creative space for me.
Yeah.
And
well, when we first moved to California, we both were coming out here with the Dream. That was in 2011, and we were here for about 7 years. And so at that time, I had this day gig that I was able to do from a computer. It was an oil and gas landman, and
Oil and gas landman?
Yeah, just something.
What does that mean?
Basically, I would run title for an oil company to find out who owned mineral rights. So completely different side of my brain, right? But I was able to support us enough to come here, because it's pretty tough to just come to California and make ends meet,
LA
right?
is no joke.
And I always tease people, if you want to find out like what being on ramen noodles is, marry another musician. You know what I mean? So I did that for a while and was like, really getting pretty burned out on it. And then when we started the Imaginaries and moved back to Oklahoma, started getting interested in real estate. So I started buying houses. Just before the pandemic, I got pretty lucky. So I started off and I ended up buying 2 duplexes on a single lot, renovated them. That was kind of in Oklahoma. That was kind of my job. I just kind of looked at it as my job, all the time, all the while we're doing gigs and we're,
okay, so you're
just
still
working on the
hustling.
record.
Still hustling,
Oh,
still
yeah.
playing gigs, still
But
making
you're
money
a
doing that.
contractor, you know how to build stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And my dad was a plumber, so I started doing this on the side, and I think musicians need to know that, like, just because you're doing something else doesn't mean it's taken away from your talent and your passion.
Things
What
have
you're doing is
changed.
you're allowing yourself to stay on that path you want to stay on. So basically what I did was I started an Airbnb business, and I've built it up now to 9 properties.
Okay, wait, stop.
Yeah.
People got to know, because
Yeah.
they're going to be pausing this. Are you listening to what he's
Yes.
saying? This is amazing. This
Yeah.
is so important for people to know.
Yeah.
I needed something to put in my hand. So, okay, because wow. All right. this is why the career musician exists. That's why I'm so excited to have you guys. You guys are the epitome of what we stand for.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's okay to do something else in addition to music.
Yes.
Let's just like squash that, what do you want to call it?
It's like
that
it's
taboo
It's
a myth.
misconception.
It's like if I'm not
Myth.
making a
Yes.
living and paying all my bills by being a guitar player or doing my artist thing, then I'm not successful. No, that's not
number
true.
one.
Yeah.
Number two, you had the wherewithal to lean on your strengths.
Yes.
So you knew about this oil and title stuff, but then you also, your dad was a plumber.
Yep.
You're good with crafts.
Yep.
You're a craftsman. You knew how to build shit and fix shit.
Yeah. It
And
wasn't
then-
easy, but I
it
figured
wasn't
it
easy.
out.
But then how did you figure out the right properties to buy? You
Man.
said you got lucky.
Yeah. Well,
But the luck is when preparedness meets opportunity.
Right, it is. Well, we were actually just starting the Imaginaries, and I'll never forget, we were in Muscle Shoals, and I started kind of going to some real estate stuff with Maggie's dad because he's
Also in real
he's
estate.
kind of my mentor in terms of real estate and had bought a lot of houses.
Synergy.
Yeah.
And so he was bringing me along for the ride and teaching me. And, I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I
Rich
was
Dad,
kind
Poor Dad.
of, understanding
What's his name?
it.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
And so anyways.
And this
these-
is circa 2010.
This was
11?
2018 when I
Yeah.
first started getting into real estate. So just 7 years, not a long time, but
Okay.
I was able to find a property for $25,000 in Oklahoma. It was 2 duplexes on a single long lot, and they needed everything. I mean, they needed everything, but I had an idea of what I was going to do.
So
And
they
I
were
was-
fixers.
They were fixer
They were
uppers. I mean,
rebuilds.
and we're
You had
talking
to-
about down to the studs.
Down to the studs.
But
Which, by the way, you got to keep the studs because there's laws about
Exactly.
that. You keep
Yep.
the walls,
Yep.
and then you don't get re-taxed
Exactly.
on the
Right.
property
Right.
tax.
So,
Okay.
so we just, I made the commitment that I was going to jump in this so that I knew that there was going to be a time where we're touring. It's like we've got something that's bringing in income
You need
while we're on
steady
the
in-
road.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked.
And you turned it into an Airbnb, you said.
The very first one. So we had moved back to Oklahoma and we had some stuff. We were kind of living with our parents and figuring stuff out. I had some stuff in storage, and I told Maggie, I said, let's just try Airbnb on this first one because we'd stayed at so many from touring over
of
the
course,
years.
you knew the groove.
And
Yeah.
that first month we went live on the very first duplex.
Yeah.
I made 3 times what I would have made in that month renting it out long term. So
so
knew
let's say
there
in
was-
that month you would have made $1,500 renting it out long term max.
Yeah.
That's being generous.
Yeah.
So you made upwards of $4,500 or more.
Exactly.
And 1 month on Airbnb.
One month. And so I recognized that there was an opportunity there.
This is pre-pan.
Yeah, pre-pan. I got lucky because I got in on it. So
That's where you got lucky.
And so I fixed all of those up. I ended up having to go to my mom, who has she has a house on acreage, and I said, "Mom, can I get a HELOC loan on your property?" And she said, "Well, if I'm gonna allow you to have this loan, you have to be a man of your word and do what you say you're gonna do." And so I said, "I'll do it." So I focused in.
Explain to people what HELOC means.
HELOC is where if you own a property and you can basically get a line of credit off that property if you've got a lot of
Based on
equity,
the equity.
Based on the equity. So that's what I did.
Home equity line of
Exactly.
credit.
And so I put that first, $60,000 into fixing the first duplex. Then the bank appraised it. Anyways, I repeated that process.
Yeah.
And here we are now with our 9th property.
9th property.
Yeah.
All in Oklahoma or all over?
All in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's
What have I
not
been telling you?
easy, but
What have I been telling you?
in the real estate game. You got to do something.
Well, you have
outside
a
of it.
property in Utah, and I was saying, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You have to.
Yeah.
You must.
well, and it's we hustle and we have our hands in so
yeah,
many
we'll
things.
tell them about
you know?
Westerland too.
Yeah, and I've got a guitar pedal company here that I started, and
I'm gonna bestow this upon you.
I mean, it was.
You have to
thank
take this.
Appreciate it.
Now you have to drop it. You have to just drop it. There you go,
There it is.
folks. That's
There it is.
because this is the genius. This is the way. Oh my God.
We've been putting in the hours, working away, saving up our money for a rainy day. Right away, we celebrate, and on the day living before it's too late. Lately, I've been feeling like we're spinning on wheels, dying for something new. And every day, time to see
Yeah.
How did this come about? So,
Well, this
so
was-
truly are
We're DIYers, man. We don't have a manager. We do all this
entrepreneurs
stuff. Yeah.
to the core.
Yeah. This was a really fun thing that I always wanted to. I mean, you know, guitar players, we love tone. We love different things that inspire us, right? That's the whole point of pedals. Is if you can get a sound that is inspiring you to play, you want to play more, right? You might write a song. And the Jim, who is how Maggie and I met, her stepdad, who it's just so crazy because he plays with the Imaginaries. So he plays keys, with us.
Yeah.
And he actually, I didn't share this, but he ended up marrying Maggie's mom. So it's just this like musical thing, which is just incredible. And he built me a pedal for a Christmas present about 7-8 years ago. And I thought it was really cool. And it was awesome. I saw an opportunity there and I said, man, I think this is really great. I've got some ideas. And so we went to town, kind of essentially building my desert island pedal, which was fun. And, 20 iterations in, we landed on this overdrive circuit. And I didn't have enough knowledge to figure out, okay, how are we going to do the graphic design? So we started the company, I guess, in 2020, just before the pandemic. And we went to NAMM thinking we were ready to launch, but it took us a while, and we weren't quite there yet.
Okay.
But we finally got there in 23 and we went to NAMM. We launched it. We were actually invited to be in the booth with LA Vintage Gear and Benson amps.
Nice.
And that was kind of our little launch. So it's an overdrive pedal. It's a very.
Is it called One?
It's called the One, the Westerland One.
Mm-hmm.
Westerland is the company name,
Love
and just so proud of it. It's been super cool because, first of all, we tried to give up on this many times. Like there was a time when I was feeling like this isn't going to go anywhere, and my buddy Matt kept me involved. And then there was a time when he thought he was going to get too busy, and I pulled him back in. So we all just kind of held on, and we figured it out. We got to the point of figuring out how to get these things produced. Because it takes like 12 hours to hand wire a pedal. We knew that wasn't going to be a business model that's possible. It's not sustainable.
So you, Jim, and Matt are partners on
yeah,
this?
we are partners on this, and they're all manufactured in Oklahoma, which is awesome. And we launched
That's
this.
amazing.
We launched this thing in April of 23, and our first customer was Vince Gill. Isn't that crazy?
Nice.
Yeah, we had just gotten the pedals back, like
Yeah.
our first order batch, and we'd had breakfast with him at his favorite place in Nashville called
Nashville.
Nashville.
Nashville. I love
And
Nashville.
at the end of our hang and stuff, I said, well, hey, I started this new company. I said, I know that you have the best tone ever, but I said I'd love for you to have one. He said, well, what are you selling them for? I said, well, we didn't really know at the time, and he said, well, people have been giving me stuff my whole life. He goes, let me buy one. I said, well, what I said, what are you going to sell them for? I said, oh, $300. He reaches down in his pocket and hands me $300 cash.
Come on, man. But you already had the relationship with Vince.
We did. We had a
Okay.
relationship, but that was super cool. And it's been neat to see like all the different musicians who have found it.
Yeah.
Ryan Adams found us online.
Wow.
Became friends with him through this pedal.
Wow.
It's been a neat way to connect with musicians on a different level. It's not, it's just for the pure joy of guitar playing and tones.
Yeah, and I
It's been
will
awesome.
I will add that like every side hustle that we do
Yeah.
ends up helping the band somehow.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they
some
kind of
way.
interweave in an interesting way,
But this whole time you've been doing your streaming show as the Imaginaries on YouTube? Because I caught it's the Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, Tuesday Tunes.
Yeah.
Tuesday Tunes.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
A couple months.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a couple months.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your one of your most
Yeah.
recent
Yeah.
ventures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
from our home studio.
I was gonna say, it seems like the common thread that keeps coming up is like connection, as far as like physical, like going up, calling the lawyer, getting out of the email room, getting on the phone with them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
going into the place. Here's a physical copy. Here's we're connecting physically. Okay, now we're connecting with these pedals. Like we're talk outside of just coming and saying book me or give me money or makes opportunities for me. We're here's something else we can talk about. It's just like constantly figuring out ways to connect with people.
Yeah.
Which
It's
requires
broad.
action. So they decide to act,
Yeah.
right? And we always talk about that. You're
You've gotta
acting,
take
then you
action.
go make that connection. Yeah.
Yeah. Got up, made the
Brilliant.
phone calls, got the things, got out in front of people.
Get up, dress up, show up.
Yeah.
Every time, consistently. Wow.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. Because when I hit you up, you're available. You're like, yeah, I'll be there. Wow.
Yep.
Love it.
This is amazing. You guys, such a wealth of knowledge, such an inspirational story time. Sorry, it's to sound like Mr. Rogers, but like all of these things you're telling us about are very inspirational.
Thank you.
We've all learned and grown today.
Yes, but we have really on a human level, on that connectivity level. Anything else? Any words of wisdom you would offer to the career musician out there who knows, I'm a career musician, I just don't know what to do next?
Man, all I'm going to say is the only way to keep moving forward is never give up. Just got to keep doing it.
What about
doing
if somebody says, forget that dream? That's a bunch of baloney.
I mean, you just have to not listen and keep going. If you know you're meant to do something, it's just brush off
You
and
got to
move
let
on.
that roll off the side, man.
Yeah.
Because people are going to talk, and you got to choose what you're going to listen to. Are you going to take that person's words and believe it? Or you gotta decide if you're going to choose faith or fear.
Yeah,
Faith
it's
or
one
fear?
or
One
the
or
other.
two, man. It's one or
Everything
the
you
other.
guys have done has
Faith or
been
fear.
a step of faith.
You got to
Everything.
take a step of faith, man.
And I think, another
that.
thing to point out is one thing that I've learned recently that I wish I would have known early on is that everything happens differently for everyone. So you can't compare yourself to people. You're not that person.
Comparison is the thief of all joy.
It is. You have to be happy for your friends and colleagues for their successes and, root them on and, figure out what works for you. And it doesn't have to be the same. As we all know, there's not a clear path in all of this, and we all have our own journey. And so just remembering that because something worked for them, well, why isn't it working for me? I must not be good enough. No, it's just, it happens different for everyone. And the other thing is nobody's going to care about what you're doing more than you.
Period. That's so important.
What's crazy is my wife and I, Nomad and Lola, that's our duo name.
Yeah.
We lived in Burbank.
Wow.
We were both in Burbank at the same time.
That's amazing.
Our landlord kicked us out on my 50th birthday. We just landed in Hawaii to celebrate.
Wow.
And we got the email as we landed. Hey, by the way, you have to be out in 30 days.
Oh my goodness.
So, but like, there's so many parallels, and the reason why I bring that up is because life is going to throw so much. I mean, we all have our life struggles. It's going to throw its hardest curveballs at you every time it can. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to persevere.
Yeah.
I heard something.
Get up and go.
Yeah, this morning on I like to frame it with bookends. From the time you're born to the 20, you're just developing. From 65, retirement age, through 80, or granted, however long you live, that's the twilight years. But in the middle, 20 to 60 is what counts.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with those 40 years?
Yeah.
Right? Because you could be programmed, no, I got to go do this job that I hate. That would have been that oil job, right?
Right. But you figure out some other way that you're going to work on something real intensely, but then be able to get paid for it, passively for years and years to come, which is what's happening now with the real estate stuff.
And be intentional about what we say yes to with our
Exactly.
music. We don't have to do every little thing.
That was the real key
because
because it's never been on our hearts to be in a cover band. Not that that's not an okay thing. Everybody's got their own path, but for us, we know that we have the ability to write songs that can affect people, that can bring hope. And that's what we've always wanted to do through our music. So we've wanted to stay on this artist journey, and it's not near as easy, to do. So we were looking for other ways to just be able to keep trucking along. And just because I had to go over here for a little bit to do this, doesn't mean that I'm still, not grinding on my guitar playing and showing up and writing songs in the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And for us, we know, just to encourage others out there, you've really got to love it enough to put up with all the crap.
Oh, man.
Because there's there's that small bit when you're playing the songs, and then there's all the other stuff.
It's all the other stuff that you're on stage for. You always say it. What do you say about stage?
Yeah, you're only on stage for an hour a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you going to do
23
in
hours.
all the 23 hours?
Yeah.
You got to parlay each experience into the next. You got to lean into your strengths. You got to expound on those strengths, right?
Yeah.
You got to act and connect, and you got to step out on faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can the church say amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Jeez, man. That was like amazing. I freaking love you guys. I wish Lola was here. But you met Lola, right?
We did.
Yeah,
yeah,
backstage.
yeah. Okay. Wow. Cool. that's a wrap. But holy cow,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
man.
Just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Such
And
good
I love
stuff.
what you guys are doing because
Yeah.
it matters.
Thank
It
you.
really matters.
Thank you.
now.
It's so bleeping hard.
I know.
But thank God, like these three people that are here with me today, Vinny, Emily, and Joel, they're amazing because they're my team, and I don't even have the resources for a team, but they're here.
Yeah.
You know, they're just amazing. So,
Awesome.
did you hear that, guys? Love you. Okay, that's it. That's a wrap. We're good.